All right, Tiff, I appreciate it. Up next on this women's quadruple header right here on the ACC Network, Clemson first-year head coach Sean Poppy, Isaiah James, and the NC State Wolfpack. Last 3 games, Isaiah's been going off, 17.7 points per game. We still have another game to be played right here. It is game number 4 of the quadruple header. Zoe Brooks, she was special last year as a freshman. What do you want to see from her in this?
I just see her just come out, ready to score the basketball. She's been playing great defense as well. Lead this team, take care of the ball, value the basketball at all times.
Loyola McQueen coming over from the
Yes.
SEC to the ACC. She's been a bright spot for Clemson.
She is. This young lady is exceptional. Don't really get talked about a lot, but she does everything for Clemson, whether it's scoring, rebounding, playing great defense. I really would like to see her just to come out and with the scoring mentality, get this team going, put them on her back, and hopefully they can get a win.
It's going to be an exciting game. Stick around. Clemson taking on NC State. Jen Hildreth and Kelly Gramlich are on the call. Cannot wait for it. Stick around because we're going to be here at halftime, myself and Ivory. Take it away, Jen and Kelly.
Justin, Ivory, we are ready to roll with another sellout at Reynolds Coliseum as the 22nd ranked NC State Wolfpack open their ACC season at home against the Clemson Tigers. NC State head coach Wes Moore, though, hoping to be singing a different tune than he was after the last game.
UGLY, we ain't got no alibi.
Only Wes Moore singing about UGLY. He's not just talking about sweaters for the holidays or extra sparkly shirts to ring in the new year. He wants his team to play better. We say hello, Jen Hildreth, former Clemson Tiger Kelly Gramlich. Now, look, NC State won that last game against James Madison. In fact, Kelly, they went 5-0 in December, but Coach Moore has some things he wants cleaned up.
And I think Wes Moore is being a little hard on his team. Maybe it was the ugly sweater that got him going there. But NC State's won 5 in a row. They have been turning the ball over a little bit more during that stretch. 17 turnovers per game. That's the main thing Wes Moore wants his team to clean up.
And then on the other side, this Clemson Tiger team, what will they look like? Brand new head coach, a lot of new players, 9 transfers. Who's caught your eye?
Well, for Clemson, Tessa Miller has been very good for the Tigers. Tessa Miller has, and she's someone that I think Clemson can exploit in this game. NC State's still trying to figure out their front court. They're starting Trieger tonight. This is her first start. They're not quite sure what they have in the front court. So that's where Clemson needs to go inside to Tessa Miller, coming off that 15 rebound performance against Wake Forest, shooting it well from the floor. That is a matchup I think Clemson looks to go to early.
That's certainly the hope of first-year head coach Sean Poppy. You may recognize him from his time as an assistant coach at Kenny Brooks at Virginia Tech. Spent the last couple of years at Chattanooga, where he was SoCon Coach of the Year last year. That is something that Coach Poppy and Coach Moore have in common, both having coached at Chattanooga. Obviously, Wes Moore, great success there before coming to NC State. This now his 12th season in charge of the Wolfpack, who went all the way to the Final Four last year. NC State tips it up. Students aren't back yet, but you'd hardly know it here. Another great crowd as they become accustomed to NC State. 6-0 at home this season, 9-3 overall. Madison Hayes lets fly the 3 to start, and now Clemson and Loyola McQueen with the ball. Summer Evans, number 7, in the starting lineup for the first time for the Tigers this season. McQueen had a look, didn't want it. There is Tessa Miller, number 22, looking for the backdoor to McQueen. Zoe Brooks, Sanaya Rivers ready to run for the Wolfpack. And then Isaiah James couldn't put the period on that possession. Quickly the other way, Mia Moore says hello to the crowd here at Reynolds.
Clemson wants to pick their moments to run. You don't want to get in a complete up and down game with NC State. They're too good in transition, but pick your moments. Great job by Clemson there and Mia Moore.
So your familiar starting 5 other than number 18 there, Tilda Trieger inside, the freshman from Sweden. Offensive rebound keeps the possession alive. James, leading scorer to Brooks. Off the glass and in.
NC State just comes at you so quickly. They drive, they kick, they shoot the ball quickly. They have shooters all over the floor. A 4-out, 1-in look for NC State on offense.
Loyola McQueen, a former Georgia Tech player at Alabama the last couple of years. Came back to her home state of South Carolina to join Clemson this year and leads the team in scoring. Evans, Moore, Porter, and Miller as there's a tie up on the floor. 10 newcomers on this Clemson team, amongst the most in the nation. 9 of those transfers, just 1 freshman.
And that's what you have to do these days in college basketball, Jen. Coach Poppy in his first year, he inherited just 2 scholarship players. So you have to go to the transfer portal, and you got to get basically a new roster in year 1 for a lot of coaches.
McQueen again driving the lane, cuts through, shot clock. The shot did get off in time, but it won't fall. Wolfpack out in front again.
NC State is going to push the pace, and you can tell how much fun they have when they're running, when they're spreading the floor, and they're finding their open teammate. Isaiah James, great pass in the open floor.
Now look no further than NC State's ACC opener at Louisville when they went in and crushed the Cardinals by 30.
Jen, they blitzed Louisville. That first quarter, the game was basically over, and that's very impressive for a game that's normally very close between NC State and Louisville.
Mia Moore has all 4 of Clemson's points now. You could sense that presence of Trieger on the inside. The 6'6" freshman had the block on the initial shot. Trieger gets in the post, working against Miller.
Good job by Miller to force Trieger to fade away. Trieger has 4 inches on her, but she forced her to take a tough shot.
Moore. This Clemson team has been shooting the 3 very well over the last 3 games in particular, but Moore making her way to the basket.
This is going to be a challenge for Clemson. The Tigers have a smaller lineup and smaller guards. Let's see if those small guards can finish around the rim against these bigger NC State guards.
Pretty quick tempo up and down the floor the first few possessions. Now McQueen and Clemson slowing it down a bit.
And I like this. As we said earlier, Clemson knows they cannot play up and down for 40 minutes with NC State.
Well, they like that back door. That time, though, NC State was ready for it. Step back from James. Good!
There's not much you can do if you're Clemson. When Isaiah James is feeling good, when she can get that step back 3 and get her own shot, she is very difficult to guard. As a coach, if you're Coach Poppy, there's nothing you can do when Isaiah James does that.
All-ACC first-team selection last year for Isaiah James. Made a huge jump from her sophomore to her junior years. What will be the encore in this, her senior year? Averaging nearly 17 points per game, close to the number she averaged all of last season. Really got hot in the NCAA tournament as well.
She was phenomenal, Jen, in the NCAA tournament. Averaged just over 23 points per game. And she's one of those players, and I say this in the best way. She's streaky, but she's super consistent, right? She's going to give you 16 a game. But when she gets hot, she is absolutely unstoppable.
No surprise there that NC State went right back to the hot hand of James. She's got 5 straight points now for the Wolfpack and a 5-point lead for NC State. Addie Porter knocks down the 3. Senior transfer from Chattanooga.
If Clemson wants to be in this game, they have to make 3s. Coach Poppy told us that at shoot-around. They know that. This is a team that shoots a lot of 3s. They're shooting 37% from beyond the arc. They've got to knock them down.
Yeah, 45% over the last 3 games, Kelly. Clemson having won 3 of their last 4. That includes their ACC opener against Wake Forest. Moore follows up with another triple. The lead back to Clemson.
Mia Moore heard what we were saying, and the Tigers know they've got to make a high percentage. Getting open looks in transition is a good strategy for Clemson.
You have to be loving the pace of this game so far.
I can't believe we're already at the first commercial break, Jen Hildreth. This is some fun basketball here in Reynolds Coliseum. And how about Isaiah James? Just cooking early here in Raleigh.
Both head coaches in this game had their paths run through Chattanooga. So it's a little Chattanooga who's who as we look at Sean Poppy and Wes Moore. Obviously Kelly, Sean Poppy, more recently coming from Chattanooga, where he took his teams to the NCAA tournament the last 2 years, Kelly, including coming right here to Reynolds Coliseum in the first round last year.
Crazy connections in this game. Both of these coaches, lots of success at Chattanooga. Westmore, of course, was there for 15 years and helped build Chattanooga into a power. And Westmore told us at shoot-around, he said, heck, it took me 15 years at Chattanooga to get a Power 4 job, and it took Sean Poppy 2.
He laid the track,
yes,
if you will.
Yes.
Chattanooga, choo-choo, and I promise to not do that anymore. A couple of free throws good for the first points for Madison Hayes. Such a strong trio of players with experience: Hayes, Rivers, James, and then of course Zoe Brooks after a great freshman season last year for NC State. Biggest questions for this Wolfpack team, Kelly, probably on the inside and what they're going to look like this year.
They have some front court questions, as I alluded to, as Maddie Kloos knocks down a 3. Clemson now with a very small lineup on the floor, playing Maddie Kloos at the 5. And we'll see if NC State tries to go in to Trieger. But of course, NC State losing River Baldwin, who was a mainstay inside for them for the last 2 years, still figuring out who their true center is.
Hannah Cohn also on the floor, sharpshooter for the Clemson Tigers. Another one of those Chattanooga transfers to follow her head coach to Clemson this year. There is Cohn. Went 2 for 10 from 3 with Chattanooga in the NCAA tournament, lost to NC State last year, but boy, she was knocking them down at shoot-around today and has been hitting it 60% from 3 over the last 3. Offensive rebound from Kloos. Fresh shot clock for Moore, and another 3 goes down for the Tigers.
Clemson is going to let it fly. They're going to attack, they're going to kick out, find their shooters. Mia Moore with some emotion after she knocked down that 3. The Tigers have already hit 4 from beyond the arc.
10 points in the game for Moore, leading the way for this Clemson Tiger attack. And what a huge win this would be, Kelly, if Clemson can come in here to Reynolds Coliseum against a ranked NC State team and find the win. Long way to go, but a good start.
I know it is way, way, way too early, and my studio partner, Muffin McGraw, does not want me to talk about this, but when it comes to bracketology, as Kloos hits another one, this Clemson team, per ESPN's Charlie Cream, is on the bubble. So a win in Reynolds would be massive for their resume, Jen, and they are trying to get one. 5 for 7 now from beyond the arc.
Yeah. Hayes looking for the answer on the other end, you betcha.
And this shooting brings a smile to my face.
I know it does.
Just absolutely love it. We know NC State can light it up. They've got shooters all over the roster. And then for Clemson, they're absolutely on fire.
Clemson 5 of 7 from 3. NC State 2 of 5 after that last triple from Hayes. There's the backdoor from McQueen. Quite enough zip on the pass. Now they have to get bailed out more. Can't finish.
Moore wanted to shoot that, but Trieger at 6'6" did not let Moore get that shot off.
Hayes feeling it! Who needs a 2 when you can shoot a 3?
Jen, I've been saying that for years. Absolutely love it. Yeah, Madison Hayes can also shoot the rock, and these teams, there's not a lot going on in the paint right now.
Good hands. Maddie Kloos really making a difference and coming onto the floor. One of the players who was with Clemson last year. Cohn around and out. Up and down we go. Zoe Brooks daring Clemson to try to keep up. Acrobatic move.
And you saw Sean Poppy telling his team to slow down. This is what I mean by Clemson's going to pick their moments. They still want to slow this game down because they know that they can't get in a full track meet with NC State.
Already under a minute in this lightning fast first quarter from Reynolds Coliseum in Raleigh. We've had just 1 foul in the game and 1 turnover. And a lot of 3s.
We've had some elite shot making. And a great job by NC State and Clemson both to attack and then kick and find their shooters.
Quiet first quarter for Sanaya Rivers. No points for her yet. Under 10 on the shot clock now. Brooks going to the rim again. Soft touch off the glass. Another chance for the Wolfpack. Rivers. Trieger Miyamor fouled as she shoots. She'll head to the free throw line.
When you're Sanaya Rivers and you have such length and such athleticism at 6'1", she was attacking the rim on that play. That's where, if I'm Westmore, I'm telling her, take it to the rim. You can finish over any guard on this Clemson roster. You have a size advantage. There's no point in trying to make that pass in traffic, in the paint. Keep it yourself and go finish.
Well, we've got more women's basketball on ACC Network every Thursday. That starts this week with a doubleheader. 6 Eastern, it is Virginia Tech hosting Tania Latson in Florida State. Tania Latson leading the country in scoring. She is one of those must-watch players. Then it is Stanford and SMU in Dallas at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. 4 points in the game now for Trieger, and a 2-point lead for NC State. Final possession of the quarter for Clemson here. Trying to finish off with a bang. McQueen's runner won't go, but what a first quarter it was. Here in Reynolds, NC State leads it by 2 after the first 10.
Reynolds Coliseum, where it is raining threes. Both Clemson and NC State off to a very quick start. A combined 8 made threes in the first quarter. Clemson made 5, NC State 3. The Tigers actually shot more threes than 2s in the first quarter. What a fast-paced quarter. Jen and I were getting some water at the break. And Clemson was such a unique plan in that first quarter. We were referencing how both these teams are playing kind of smaller, playing some small ball, but Clemson just shot threes, Jen. They didn't really mess with the paint in the first quarter.
Well, as we get ready to start the second quarter now, Kelly, how are they able to do that? I'm curious once Clemson gets back on the attack, as they will right now, taking the ball away. Addie Porter. It's one thing to say, I'm going to hang out here and shoot threes. It's another thing to have such good looks and make them.
They're getting open looks. They were picking their points to run. They were kicking out and finding each other. So they weren't forcing anything. And then they were keeping NC State out of transition. I mean, that's the key. NC State got off to a quick start, but then slowed down in the latter part of the first quarter.
5 on the shot clock. McQueen needs to make something happen, is able to draw the foul from Sanaya Rivers. Senior for the Wolfpack, no points so far, but NC State on an 8-0 run to finish that first quarter.
And Sanaya Rivers just riding Loyal McQueen with that hand, and that is a foul you cannot have. You saw Sanaya Rivers' face. She knows. She's a senior. She's played a lot of basketball. She knows you cannot afford to give up that foul. With just a few seconds left on the shot clock, now Clemson gets another 20 seconds to work with.
And those two know one another. Loyal McQueen from Florence, South Carolina, Sanaya Rivers from Wilmington, North Carolina. And Sanaya said, yeah, we played against one another, AAU circuit. She was looking forward to the rematch. Now that McQueen back in the ACC with Clemson. Moore will try another 3. She knew it was short, went flying in to try to get her own rebound, but couldn't corral it.
NC State has lost her quite a few times. This is, Mia Moore's a 44% three-point shooter. I mean, Westmore cannot be happy with just some of that scramble and recover where NC State's trying to help off because Clemson's putting a lot of pressure on their defense. Then they have to recover. And Westmore said, we've got to guard the ball better. That's something else he wants to see from his team.
10 points for Mia Moore in the first quarter for Clemson. Shot from 3, too strong. Maddie Cox unsuccessful in that attempt, the sophomore for the Wolfpack. Raven Thompson, one of the 3 Chattanooga transfers, gets it to Moore. So athletic as she goes to the basket. Mia Moore played at UAB last season, led the Blazers in points per game, field goal percentage, rebound, steals.
This was a great play by Mia Moore. She could tell that Madison Hayes was not set for the closeout. Madison Hayes was sprinting at her, and so Mia Moore put the ball on the floor and got to the rim. And she was sprinting at her because we know Mia Moore is a 44% three-point shooter. A very active first 12 minutes so far from number 12 for Clemson.
In fact, it is 12 points for number 12. She's been everywhere, doing a little bit of everything, as I just alluded to. Her role last year with UAB, spent her first 2 seasons at Mississippi State, redshirted the first year, only played in 4 games. The year before that in Starkville, and the year after that, 22-23, before really breaking out last year. Now we're getting a few more fouls called. Didn't see hardly any, all but one was called in the first quarter. That one was whistled on McQueen. Sean Poppy taking over this Clemson team. Brand new look this year, and 9 transfers of his 10 newcomers. A little more size on the floor when you've got Cox out there trying to go up against Tessa Miller.
And Tessa Miller doing a good job of holding her own, boxing out Cox. Whatever big NC State has in there, Miller, only 6'2", has got to hold her own, and she's done a good job so far.
McQueen. This is Tessa Miller, captain for this Clemson team, transfer from Belmont to Cone. Still can't get one to fall. Hayes was ready for it, but a travel takes away the opportunity. And amongst those transfers coming in for Sean Poppy, 5 of them earning all-conference recognition.
And Coach Poppy said most of his roster are transfers from the mid-major level. And so he's trying to convince these players that they belong at this level, get their confidence up. The best example of that is Mia Moore. You're seeing what she's doing so far in this game from UAB. And in that game specifically against South Carolina, she shined. Her athleticism translates to any level. And shooting the 3-ball also translates to any level, Jen.
Cone knocks down the triple after the shot fake. 6 lead change with Clemson up 3. And a chance to extend it now. McQueen on the break, going all the way in, and Hayes trying to plead her case and does it well. No foul called.
Quick release from Hannah Cone. Love the pump fake. And the key on this play, Jen, and so many players at the high school level, they'll pump fake from beyond the arc and they'll take a dribble inside the arc. The key is to take your dribble with a sidestep, so you stay behind the arc. That's something that shooters have to learn because you're taught at a basic level to dribble closer to the rim. But take the sidestep, stay behind the 3-point line, knock it down. Picture perfect from Hannah Cone.
Just keep your eye on this player for Clemson, too. She hit a program record 46% of her threes last year for Chattanooga. One of the best in the country, percentage-wise. And had a game in high school where she hit 19 threes in one game.
Jen, that's crazy.
And we're up to 61 points.
She set the national girls basketball high school record for threes made in a game. 19 threes in a game in high school, and then her numbers from last year. Last year had a stellar freshman season. This year so far, top 4 in the ACC in multiple categories. And she's not even the one who's doing most of the damage so far for Clemson from beyond the arc.
Those are the first points for NC State in this quarter, and the first points for Sanaya Rivers. Does that get her going? Cone lines up another deep 3, too strong. Sanaya Rivers, such an important part of this NC State team, the one that makes them go. She finds Cox, who knocks down the 3.
And Maddie Cox playing the 4 in this lineup with Trieger at the 5. And Cox showing her ability to spread the floor, was just 1 for 9 from beyond the arc before this game.
Defensive intensity picking up as well. McQueen going against Rivers, and that is the second personal foul on Rivers. She knew it, but the quickness of McQueen forced her hand.
It's a great job by Loyal McQueen. Get to the rim with her strong hand, and knowing you've got to put defensive pressure on Sanaya Rivers. Rivers means so much to this team. They need her on the floor, and now with 2 fouls, we might not see her for the rest of the quarter. That is a massive twist in this game.
Well, as you get ready to ring in begin the new year on Tuesday. We'll have a men's basketball doubleheader here on ACCN. Starts at 2:30 Eastern. Notre Dame at Georgia Tech. Notre Dame coming off a season-high 91 points in their last game, by the way. And then Cooper Flag, number 4, Duke hosting Virginia Tech at Cameron Indoor. Flag named Rookie of the Week for a 4th time this past week as we get ready to wish everybody a Happy New Year. And I hope maybe one of the guys in those games will be wearing some sparkles.
Jen, I'm not sure any announcer during this New Year's Eve couple days here will be dressed like you. The sparkles, I'm being blinded. When I turn to my left trying to call the action, I'm just blinded by the sparkles.
You know, we just have to get in the holiday spirit here.
I love it.
Great energy as always here at Reynolds Coliseum. NC State has built up such a great fan base, especially in the renovated Reynolds Coliseum. They rarely lose on their home floor. They're ranked in the top 25 right now. 5 on the shot clock. Trieger had the turnaround. But expectations have been raised, especially with that Final Four run last year for the Wolfpack in Westmore.
And you can see the Final Four banner alongside the 1998 banner here in Reynolds Coliseum. Massive step for this program and for Westmore to get to the 2024 Final Four. And a shout out to this crowd, like you said, Jen. Some of these games, late December, when the students aren't here, can feel a bit dead, but not here, not in Reynolds Coliseum. The Wolfpack faithful have showed up.
Well, we are all tied up at 26. It's a tight one here at Reynolds. Clemson Tigers giving the Wolfpack all they can handle. NC State's run to the Final Four last spring started here at Reynolds Coliseum with a victory over Sean Poppy's Chattanooga team. So maybe, Kelly, we shouldn't be so surprised that this game is as tight as it is.
And this game was pretty close. NC State pulled away later in the contest, and of course, NC State went on to make that Final Four. But Sean Poppy has experience against Westmore last year, as we talked about. Also, when Poppy wasn't the associate head coach at Virginia Tech, played NC State quite a few times, and feels like the game plan and the experience against Coach Moore is showing so far in this game.
Devin Quigley on the floor for NC State. No Sanaya Rivers on the bench with 2 fouls. Lorena Awu also in. She gets the ball here from Brooks.
Good pass by Zoe Brooks to be aware that she had a double team. She wasn't in a great position to go up and score. Look for her teammate. And Lorena Awu is a player they're excited about. A great body, 6'5", just a freshman.
Wow, that is a wide open look. Well earned by Clemson.
That's what Clemson wants to do. They want to use their speed and athleticism with their smaller post players to win in those backdoor situations against the bigger NC State posts.
First field goal of the game for Tessa Miller. Awu does have the ball, but lost it. Maddie Cluse head over heels after the defensive effort.
This was a great pass. Zoe Brooks catches it, kind of an awkward position, sees Tessa Miller coming to help, dishes it off to her freshman Awu, and then on the last play, the last thing you want to do at 6'5", Jen, put the ball on the floor. You got to make a quicker move. If you put the ball on the floor at 6'5", smaller guards can come in and take that ball from you.
So we've seen Tilda Trieger start on the inside for NC State. Awu now in the game. Cluse can't knock down her 3rd triple. We wondered about the post play, and Westmore told us it would be a bit of a revolving door. Short leash as he's trying to get some of these young post players experience. He knows he's got the guards to get the job done. Quigley gets herself stuck back to Awu. Yes!
Great job by Lorena Awu. Really good minutes right here for NC State as she comes in to give some of these older post players a breather, but steps out, makes herself available, knocks down the mid-range.
No field goals in the game for Loyal McQueen, just a couple of free throws, leading scorer for the Tigers. And officials are going to talk about this. Initially, they said this would be Clemson ball, and it will. NC State and the crowd thinking the call should have gone the other way, but they'll get it eventually. eventually anyway. Good defense played by the Wolfpack.
And that's a slow developing blob based on out of bounds that Clemson runs, and they've got to be quicker. They've got to go to their second option to give someone for Loyal McQueen to pass the ball into so they don't get that 5-second violation.
Addie Porter, Raven Thompson back on the floor for Clemson. Addie Porter, the senior guard from Chattanooga, is really like a safety blanket out there. Knows Coach Poppy so well and what he wants. Quigley, little lackadaisical with that pass. Good hands from Evans, the three. James has been quiet since those 5 straight points in the first quarter. Quigley, this is what she does. Good fight for the rebound. Look at James getting on the floor. Crowd loves it. Quigley lines it up. Devin Quigley, the freshman from Manchester, New Jersey, couldn't hit the three-point shot, but this crowd starting to get into it off a couple good effort plays from the Wolfpack.
And I know the best time to shoot a three is off an offensive rebound, and NC State with the effort, Isaiah James getting on the floor, getting the ball out. Would have loved to seen Quigley maybe attack the rim there. Taking quite a few threes, they're not falling. The defense is discombobulated. Go get to the rim.
Foul number 32, Raven Thompson.
Thompson whistled for the foul. Neither team in the bonus yet. NC State with 4 fouls in the quarter. Oh, make that 5 now for Clemson. Apologies on that. Officials in conversation. Lonnie Spurlock, Ed Sidlasky, Bruce Morris are 3 officials on the game today, just making sure they are all in agreement. Initially, it was Awu on the free throw line. It actually will be Madison Hayes. That was what the conversation was about. 8 points in the game for Hayes. Couple of threes. Hit her first 2 free throws. Had a career high 24 points, 9 rebounds in NC State's win at Clemson last year. The Wolfpack have won 15 in a row in this long-standing series. Lacey Steele on for NC State. Should mention, by the way, freshman Zamaria Jones, McDonald's All-American, not available for this game. She picked up a hand injury in practice. She missed the last game, misses this one as well. Of course, Lizzie Williamson, the 6'5" grad center, out, expected to be for the season. So NC State a little shorthanded, and Porter drains a 3.
Second 3 of the game for Addie Porter, and another great pass by Loyal McQueen. She is finding her shooters.
Well, there's no question it is going to be the 3 that keeps Clemson in it. So far, so good. All tied up, and the drive with the left just won't roll for McQueen.
I love that decision, though. I feel like McQueen needs to look for her shot a little more, keep the defense honest, make it harder to guard the 3.
Awu. I'm not so sure she has a 3-point shot in her arsenal. Hasn't taken one this year yet, Lorena Awu, but just that name, you know, you can picture what a great call that could be if she did drain one. Might get to work it in anyway.
Well, similar to Wolfpack great Reina Perez.
Make it a rain.
Takes me back.
Well, Clemson unable to get anything done on that possession.
Addie Porter, just a real glue player for this team, a senior, played for Coach Poppy at Chattanooga for 3 years, plays hard, can get this team organized, leader on the floor, and when she can add 2 threes in the first half, she is a 40% three-point shooter. That's huge for Clemson. They have so many players that are around that 40% mark shooting the 3-ball.
Awu has struggled at the free throw line. She came in just 30% from the line, 7 for 23. And Westmore had her at shoot-around today. Everybody else was getting a break, and she had to make 2 free throws in a row at each end of the floor before she was able to come over and get some rest. But she is working on it. Still some work to be done. Under a minute to go, and what has been a very entertaining first half. Clemson has kept themselves in it with the 3, a flat-footed 3 from Tessa Miller.
Tessa Miller has go off on Cone and left Miller wide open.
Oh, wow. Zoe Brooks, count it.
Zoe Brooks getting to the rim and finishing. She struggled a bit to finish in this first half, but excellent finish and drawing the foul. NC State needed that after this Clemson three. Hannah Cone drawing all the attention in the corner, leaving Tessa Miller wide open.
Is this what this game will boil down to, you wonder? That downhill driving, the acrobatic skills of some of these NC State guards versus the three-point shooting of Clemson.
And can Clemson keep it up in the second half and get to halftime without NC State going on a little run right here, Jen?
These are an important few minutes of the game. Sean Poppy has talked about it before. His team has to stay focused. Brooks on a 5-point run of her own. Clemson wants a good look. Porter will pass it off. Miller. Good hands coming from everywhere. Isaiah James helping out on the defensive end.
Isaiah James just coming out of nowhere here. And Lorena Awu, great job of holding her ground without fouling.
5 seconds to go. Porter.
Gotta be aware of the time.
Cone takes it, makes it!
My goodness.
8th three-pointer for Clemson in this half, Kelly.
The Tigers have come out firing from beyond the arc, and they are all tied up with number 22 NC State because of it. Hannah Cone, the elevator screen, gets the ball off just in time. Great execution by Clemson to end the first half. If the second half is anything like the first, more threes coming at you, but back to the studio.
Yeah, we're having fun. Justin Walters, Ivory Latta, we send it to you.
Thanks, Jen. Welcome into this ACC Network halftime report. We're locked and tied at halftime, 36 apiece. Man, Clemson is playing really well. Ivory, what have you liked from the Tigers? Because this has to be one of their best halves of the season.
Clemson is shooting threes, and that is what's keeping them in the game. But the great thing about what Clemson is doing, they're actually running their offense. They're taking them time. NC State is not playing any aggressive defense. So, yes, Clemson is taking advantage of every opportunity. Mia Moore came out focused, scoring, knocking down threes. I mean, it is beautiful. They raining threes, man.
8 for 16. Cone also has a pair of triples. They cannot be stopped. It has been a great shooting clinic from the outside. On the flip side, NC State, what would you like to see from them moving forward?
A little bit more aggressive defense. Don't allow Clemson just to be able to run their offense. Take their time on offense. Stop the one and done, the one pass, one shot. I would like to see in the second half NC State run their offense, look for the players that can really get out there and score. I need for Sanaya Rivers to really step up in the second half, get back to the player that we know she can be on the defensive end, but also on the offensive end.
Yeah, and that early foul trouble definitely hurt Sanaya. She picked up 2 early fouls. It's also been a great start to the first half for Cone and Clemson, knocking it down from the outside. They got 9 triples. They had a correction at halftime. The Tigers are up 37-36. We see you.
Back at Reynolds Coliseum, ready to go for the second half. But first, we'll look back at what was a really impressive first half, particularly for the Clemson Tigers. Jen Hildreth, former Clemson Tiger Kelly Gramlich. And yes, that score is correct. In case you missed it, one of those 3-pointers that Clemson made in the first half was originally ruled a 2. They said it was a 3. So now here they sit, Kelly, with 1-point lead.
Wait, Clemson made another 3. Shocking. They added another 3 to the total for the Tigers. 9 made threes in the first half. And what I wanted to point out about these threes was 5 of them were off of Loyal McQueen assists. She has 5 assists in the first half, all on 3-point baskets. She is attacking the lane, and she's finding her shooters, putting her teammates in great positions to be successful. And they have shared the rock. It's been pretty much everybody on this roster knocking down threes, but I love how Loyal McQueen has found her teammates and allowed them to get good looks from beyond the arc, Jen.
Well, the three-point basket has certainly been a big part of the story of the score for Clemson in the first half. Can they keep it up? That'll be one thing to look for. What about for NC State?
Well, for NC State, Sanaya Rivers went out with 2 fouls in the first quarter. That hurt them, of course, not having Sanaya Rivers for a lot of the first half. Isaiah James, all 5 of her points came in the first quarter. They've got to get her more involved. Loved how Zoe Brooks finished that second quarter. I liked how she was attacking the rim and being aggressive. But for NC State, so much of what they do is getting out in transition. They've got to find ways, whether it's forcing turnovers, getting that defensive rebound and pushing the pace, but they've got to get back into their bread and butter of pushing the ball and getting out in transition.
NC State ranked number 22 in the country, 9-3 overall, 1-0 in ACC as they open their conference season at home tonight. Their first ACC win coming on the road in impressive fashion at Louisville. Clemson also 1-0 in the conference. And looking at a wonderful opportunity here. Backdoor cut is open for Mia Moore, who has 14.
When you make 9 threes in the first half, teams are going to overplay you on the perimeter, and then the back door is going to be there. Great execution by Clemson to start this second half.
Now let's see, Kelly, who this foul was called on. It was Sanaya Rivers. That's her third. Just 2 points in the game for the senior from Wilmington, who averages 11. She's their leading rebounder, leading shot blocker. She's staying on the floor.
And pretty much the only way to slow down Sanaya Rivers is for her to be on the bench. So this has been a massive shift in this game. We just haven't seen much of her because of foul trouble.
The entire Clemson bench stood on their feet, put their hands in the air, thinking Moore would shoot a 3, and then Porter just passed it out of bounds, turns it over. Just the 6th turnover of this game, though, for the Tigers. NC State has also done a good job taking care of the basketball, but that is 2 possessions in a row. What are they getting wrong here, Kelly, on the screen?
They're calling moving screens on these plays where it's almost a DHO, a dribble handoff with a screen, and that's a foul. Zoe Brooks stopped and then lowered her shoulder into Summa Evans, and that's what they called on Sanaya Rivers on the previous play. Those guards have to be careful. If it's just a DHO, let it be a DHO. You don't have to make unnecessary contact. Obviously, the officials are calling it.
Can Clemson take advantage? 3-point lead for the Tigers. Had the rare 2-point basket to start off this third quarter after hitting 9 threes in the first, and Moore does it again.
Jim, when I said Mia Moore's athleticism translates to the next level, that's what I mean. Her first step is really difficult to stay in front of.
Tilda Trigger, the freshman out of Stockholm, Sweden, tried her hand from 3.
Tigers foul number 14.
And here's Mia Moore with that first step. Gets downhill to her dominant hand, and I love the joy that Mia Moore plays with. She had a big smile on her face after she hit a 3 in the first quarter as well. They did just call that foul on her, kind of a push-off when she was trying to get that rebound.
James goes to the basket. Actually, I think that last foul was issued to Addie Porter, so that's a good thing because Mia Moore already had 2. She and Porter both with 2.
Thank you, Jen. I think I saw a foul that maybe I would have called if I was an official.
Isaiah James on the free throw line. Excellent free throw shooter, about 80%. Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Get ready because after our women's basketball doubleheader, our Nothing But Net crew has you covered. Highlights, analysis of every women's game. Look ahead to the best matchups on the schedule for the weekend. You know Kelly and the crew have you covered all season long right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app.
We'll be in studio Thursday night. Cannot wait to do a big show and to kind of kick off the ACC conference season.
Well, these 2 teams are kicking it off in fine fashion. I know they've each already played an ACC game, but you start to turn the calendar over, then you know you're in conference play, and the intensity, the level here of execution has been really impressive so far. A little bit of a frustrating start to the quarter, though, for NC State. Rivers will try the 3, short.
And it's tough for Rivers. When you've been sitting on the bench for so much time in the first half, it's hard to get back in rhythm.
Oh, my. Laurel McQueen took her to the cleaners.
And I said this earlier, Jen. I wanted Laurel McQueen to look for her shot a little more to keep the defense honest. A great job by her on that play.
It's the first field goal of this quarter of the game, actually, for McQueen. Only had a couple of free throws. That's a jump ball called by the officials. Both teams fighting for it. More in the middle of it.
And NC State has to respect McQueen passing the ball. They're so worried about her passing it. Worried about Tessa Miller on the pop. And there just wasn't good communication. Passing that screen off, whether they were switching. I didn't think NC State knew what they were doing on that play. And McQueen gets to the rim with ease.
James, shot fake, works to perfection.
That is beautiful basketball from Isaiah James. Using that shot fake, really selling it, and then a one-dribble pull-up. One of the reasons why Isaiah James is high on many WNBA draft boards.
Moore, so quick to the rim. 18 points in the game now for Mia Moore.
What a game. What a showing for Mia Moore so far. Take another look at Isaiah James using that pump fake perfectly, making Summer Evans go flying. And then she has a wide open look. Clemson has scouted that play. They know they're trying to get a mid-range look for Isaiah James. James knows that Clemson knows, you see what I'm saying, Jen, what NC State wants to do. So great job of using the pump fake to create an open look.
Isaiah James recognizing the leadership role she needs to have for this young, in many ways, team this year. Yes, you think of certain players like James and Rivers who have been there a while, but they told us that this is a young team. They know they need to help carry it. Evans making her first career start for Clemson tonight. Transfer from Mercer, where she was a big-time player there, defensive player of the year in the SoCon, played at UNF, but starting for the first time tonight, and those are her first points and the largest lead now for Clemson. Brooks couldn't get her own shot, but that works just as well.
Zoe Brooks has passed it well in the paint tonight, drawing a double team and dishing. And for Clemson, Jen, I mean, there is no hesitation for these shooters. Every player on the floor is ready to let it fly at a moment's notice.
Six-point lead now for the Tigers. Go inside. They get it back to A through Miller.
Tigers doing a good job of keeping the defense honest. They've made 10 threes, but they're still attacking the paint at times to keep the defense on their toes.
James working the baseline. You can tell she is trying to carry this team along with her. She draws the foul. She'll go back to the free throw line.
And NC State has struggled to guard Tessa Miller in the pick and roll. I think there's some miscommunication with Trieger, who's just a freshman. And one of the toughest things, Jen, as a freshman is to figure out how to guard ball screens. And Westmore talking with Trieger on the sideline right now. You got to know what coverage you're in, because if there's one false step between two people trying to guard the pick and roll, it's going to be disaster.
James helping her cause from the free throw line, 3 for 3 in this third quarter. Now in double digits, hits them both. NC State inching closer.
Isaiah James really trying to encourage her team, as you said, Jen, trying to will her team back into this game.
9 ties, 10 lead changes in the first half. More! And it is James on the defensive end, too. She is everywhere right now for the Wolfpack.
Another block. She is doing a great job of coming from help side and blocking shots, using her athleticism, not fouling. Mia Moore that time, she was just driving, trying to get fouled. When the officials realize that, they're really not going to give you the call.
Rivers looked in the other side, and that's where she found a wide open Mallory Collier, who we welcome into this game for the first time. Didn't see Collier in the first half. But Rivers certainly saw her on that possession. McQueen with the answer.
A great finish by Loyal McQueen. When she gets downhill going to her left, her strong hand, Jen, she's very difficult to stop.
Brooks breaking out all the moves. NC State team you would expect to be competing at a high level. They were picked second in the ACC preseason poll. Final four last year. Collier, 4 points now off the bench, helping the Wolfpack. But how about this Clemson team going toe-to-toe with the Wolfpack here in Raleigh tonight? McQueen going up against James, and McQueen up for the challenge.
As you said, Jen, Loyal McQueen up for the challenge indeed. She distributed the ball really well in the first half. Second half, she's calling her own number. We have a game in Reynolds.
Number 22, NC State trailing Clemson in the Wolfpack's ACC home opener tonight. Sanaya Rivers has been quiet so far, just 2 points, Kelly, and is playing with 3 fouls.
Picked up those 2 fouls early. We didn't see much of her in the first half, and then picked up the 3rd foul very quickly here in the 3rd quarter. Feels like she's played a bit passively, hasn't been able to be as aggressive because of those 3 fouls. And I'm not sure she'd be on the floor right now if NC State had Zam Jones. Zam Jones, their freshman phenom who's been great this season, is out with a hand injury. And so Wes Moore almost forced to keep Sanaya Rivers on the floor with 3 fouls.
Jones, McDonald's, and Jordan All-American out of Bethel in North Carolina. They do hope to have her back in a couple of weeks.
They missed that spark. She's another guard. She can score. She can create her own shot. Unfortunate hand injury suffered in practice.
So what do you want to see on this end now from NC State?
I think you got to go back to Isaiah James. She's been the player that's been able to get her own shot and really spark the offense. But hey, if you can get Sanaya Rivers involved as well, that is great news for NC State. She's got to be more aggressive. She's got to forget about the fouls and just go play.
Just the second field goal of the game for Rivers. 4-point lead for the Tigers.
And NC State now in a 2-3 zone, switching things up defensively on Clemson, but
do you dare? Do you dare to do a zone against this hot shooting Clemson team?
When any shooter sees a 2-3 zone, they automatically start salivating, and that's exactly what Hannah Cohn just did. I'm not sure about the switch to the zone.
Well, one thing you can be sure of is that Isaiah James is bringing it again, although she is hopping as she gets up, not putting any weight on that right foot. She hops immediately off the floor. That's not a good sign.
She fell really hard. Oh, goodness. That was tough to watch. Isaiah James seemed to want to get off the floor right away to go get seen by the training staff.
Well, she made the basket, was fouled by McQueen. So with James unable to shoot the free throw at the moment, they'll put Devin Quigley on the free throw line. So at the moment, James receiving some treatment. And that's how she left the court. She knew immediately she needed some work to be done. We'll see. She has been so determined. It's going to take a lot to keep her off the floor, trying to help get NC State back in front in this game. Defense takes it away for the Wolfpack. Brooks looking for some options to run. Has Quigley, lines up the 3. Rivers came through, but stepped on the baseline.
It's just been that kind of night for Sanaya Rivers. Things not going her way. Great hustle. Again, I like that she's being aggressive. They need her to play that way. But NC State needs to come up with these rebounds right now.
Clemson wants another three. That one was tipped. Cruz had an open look initially and then does put it off the glass and in.
It's just that kind of night for Clemson. A tipped three ends up being almost a perfect pass for a layup. Sometimes you have those nights in basketball.
Step back from Brooks. Good!
With Isaiah James out for at least right now, Zoe Brooks has to step up. She's played really well lately. She's taken that next step as a sophomore. She's got to help take over this game along with Sanaya Rivers.
ACC All-Freshman team selection last year, just the second player in program history to record a triple-double. She did that in her first year with the Wolfpack, Zoe Brooks. And now the zone causing a few more problems that results nearly in another turnover. Shot clock did not reset, but a foul with 1.7 seconds left on the shot clock bails out the Tigers.
NC State has committed a few of those bailout fouls that have really helped Clemson. And I know we talked about shooters like a zone, but Clemson has become very comfortable this game against NC State's man-to-man. Westmore's just trying to change things up, bring some different looks, run Clemson off of their spots, and it's made Clemson a bit uncomfortable.
Madison Hayes with a foul, fourth team foul for NC State. Nowhere to go, and yes, indeed, McQueen did step on the baseline. Some suffocating defense being played on both ends of the floor.
And I think part of the reason to switch to a zone is to corral McQueen, because she has tore up your man-to-man defense. So see if you can stay in front of her a little better with some zone.
Rivers left it short. It'll stay on this end of the floor with the Wolfpack. NC State, winners of 15 in a row in this series against Clemson. The Tigers' last win against NC State coming in 2011. This new-look Clemson team, though, holding their own. They do commit the foul as Madison Hayes will go to the free throw line. 9 points in the first half for Hayes. No points yet since halftime.
And of course, NC State trying to win their 16th straight against Clemson, continue to build the momentum in their early season. And then for Clemson, this is a team right now that is squarely on the bubble. I know it's only December, but squarely on the bubble per Charlie Cream. A win like this, especially on the road, from a net ranking perspective, would be massive for the Tigers.
Evans turning to the court for the Tigers.
Clemson has made 7 of their last 9 from the floor. NC State picking up some points from the free throw line. 2-point Tiger lead.
And the Pack still in that zone.
Clemson led by as many as 8 in this quarter, their largest lead of the game. And McQueen just got going a little too fast.
The zone is because of McQueen. They're trying to take away her driving lanes. They're trying to have more help because they have not been able to stay in front of her one-on-one. Smart move by Westmore.
After the officials changed one of Clemson's 2-point baskets to a 3, they led at the half. NC State hasn't led since the second quarter. They tie it now, and Isaiah James is back on the bench. Reynolds Coliseum roaring as Cone can't quiet them down, not initially.
Big O board for Clemson.
13 on the shot clock. McQueen. Can she find the penetration against the zone? Not enough. Sanaya Rivers, a quick look up at the clock. Shot clock is off. Seconds ticking down. NC State wants this final possession of the quarter. Where do you see the ball going?
Keep the ball in Sanaya Rivers' hands. I would set her a screen and let her get to the rim.
There she goes. Foul. Count it.
And that is is why you keep the ball in Sanaya Rivers' hands. She is so tough to guard. One of the best athletes in the country at 6'1". Gets to the rim, uses her left, big time finish. That is a veteran leadership play from Sanaya Rivers when her team needed her to get a bucket.
And it was the 4th personal foul on Summer Evans. Evans hasn't had quite the punch she's had in recent games. Well, look at this. Isaiah James hops off the floor on one leg a few moments ago. Said that trainer, tape me up and put me back in, coach.
Thankfully, I'm so glad to see Isaiah James back at the scorer's table and that she's okay.
Rivers can't complete the three-point play, but NC State back out in front. Will it stay that way? Yes, it will. Here we go. Settle in, everybody. 4th quarter coming up from Reynolds. The Wolfpack leading Clemson by 2. Fourth quarter on the way from Reynolds, and ACC PM on the way every weekday at 4 Eastern here on ACCN and the ESPN app. Maybe Pack and Taylor will be talking to Isaiah James, or perhaps Mia Moore from Clemson, depending how this goes. Because right now, NC State is having to really fight. They get their first lead on that Sanaya Rivers basket since it was 36-34 in the second quarter. And Clemson with an opportunity here, currently on the bubble, according to our Charlie Cream, to pick up a quad 1 win on the road at a ranked NC State team. The zone does seem to have quieted down Loyal McQueen. But what about the shooting? Will the threes come back out for Clemson?
And NC State back to a man-to-man on this first possession of the 4th quarter. We'll see if he continues, if Coach Moore continues to switch it up and try to keep Clemson on their toes.
Tessa Miller called for the foul. Mallory Collier defending. And isn't it interesting? In the first half, it was the freshman Lorena Owu who came off the bench inside. In the second half, it's been Mallory Collier, and she's been effective.
And credit Collier, not playing an entire first half. Some players would check out, and she stayed locked in. Has been very good for her team in the second half.
James back on the floor for NC State. Cone, yes for 3!
Hannah Cone is a pure sharpshooter. She is ready to let it fly. The second she has a little bit of daylight, 4 for 8 from beyond the arc tonight.
James finds Hayes. The answer! 3rd triple of the night for Madison Hayes.
Trading threes, that's kind of been what this game has been about. Clemson, of course, has made a few more threes, but a lot of going back and forth. Such a good one to kick off ACC play after Christmas.
And watching these NC State players come by us, these veteran players, Hayes and James and Rivers, the looks on their faces are just determined to get this done.
Clemson now, number 22, Tessa Miller.
These back-to-back buckets, back-to-back threes. Hannah Cone, give her a sliver of daylight. That's going to be 3 points. And then Madison Hayes, a great shooter in her own right, 37% on the year, the 5th-year senior for NC State. And you mentioned that, Jen, the veteran leadership for NC State. They know how important every ACC game is. If they want to win the ACC, if they want to host in the NCAA tournament, get back to the Final Four, every ACC game matters. And it feels like perhaps they weren't ready for what Clemson threw at them in the first half. And now they're wide awake. They're ready to go in this 4th quarter.
NC State's done a better job of getting to the free throw line. They're 13 of 19. Clemson's been really good when they've gotten there, but they've only shot 6 of 6 free throws for the Tigers.
NC State now back in the zone, just continuing to switch it up and make Clemson uncomfortable.
Thompson, a little out of control on the drive, but she gathered the ball back in, draws the foul.
A good job by Thompson to just slash into that zone and put some pressure on the back line. Thompson played really well for Chattanooga last year in this building against NC State.
Yeah, had 11 points in that game in the first round NCAA tournament loss. crowd getting loud as Thompson on the free throw line. Got every bit of the rim and then put it through. 2-point lead for NC State.
Jen, you mentioned the crowd. I feel like the crowd has kept NC State in the game. They've willed NC State to come back and take the lead, and this is why home court matters.
Rivers. Hayes managed somehow to toss that ball off of a Clemson player. Cruz can't believe it, but that's the call. Kalani Spurlock right there on the baseline to make the call. James. Determined. With the left is good.
What a tough shot from Isaiah James. NC State building their lead back. It feels like if Clemson wants to truly get back in this game and feel comfortable, they've got to hit a few more threes, Jen.
15 points in the game for James, who made a heroic comeback after hopping off. Look at that! Blistering pace on the pass, and Moore is through. New season high for Mia Moore now with 20.
Mia Moore cut through the lane so fast. I'm not sure NC State even realized what she was doing. She was just like an orange blur through the paint.
Moore has been everywhere for Clemson tonight. She's found the lane inside. She's hit from the outside. Can't hit here to tie it back up, but it stays with Clemson.
And Mia Moore has a season high 20 points. So that is her Clemson high. 20 points against NC State. And then again, I don't think NC State even realized what she was doing because it was so quick.
Foul before that shot can be put up by Tessa Miller.
Wolfpack foul number 42, Valerie Collier.
It's a second on Collier.
That's the second team foul.
Second team foul on NC State. NC State, not a particularly good free throw shooting team on the season so far. Could that be a factor? Could the three continue to be a factor? Clemson sure hopes so. Moore. Timeout called. She was in trouble. Sean Poppy and the bench knew it. They call a timeout. Clemson down 2. We'll take a quick breather to catch our breath as well before we come back to Reynolds. Another great crowd, great atmosphere in Reynolds Coliseum tonight, and why not? When you sell out the way that this program does, you bring them back in. Who wouldn't want to be here? And what a performance they've been treated to tonight by both teams. 2-point game. Here we are in the fourth quarter. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Clemson with the ball under the basket. This crowd has gotten loud when their team has needed them here in the second half. And this is without the students fully back after the winter break. Oh, Brooks just was in the right place defending, didn't even know anything about the ball. She knows all about that finish, though.
That is the last thing you want if you're Clemson. Coming out of a timeout to not execute. I know that's got to frustrate Coach Poppy.
As well as Clemson has played, is this the Tigers tightening up maybe a little bit? All these players who Sean Poppy told us he needs to get to believe in themselves, believe they can win at places like Reynolds Coliseum against a ranked Wolfpack team.
Mia Moore believes. Mia Moore is having the game of her life with 22 points. But Jen, you're right. That's where veteran leadership, playing at home, having won so many games. NC State has all that. Clemson is still trying to figure it out.
Madison Hayes now has 16 points in the game for NC State.
She has been solid for NC State. When they have needed a bucket, Madison Hayes has delivered.
Wolfpack have been really balanced in terms of their scoring and who's taken over at different moments of the game. Officials are going to talk this over before making the initial call. Looked like it would be NC State ball by our vantage point initially, and it is.
And Tessa Miller, that's a tough pass. Tessa Miller wasn't in position, and it looked like that went off Zoe Brooks' foot, but it's not under 2 minutes, so they can't review it.
They can talk it over, but cannot review it until the final 2
and
minutes.
that zone, Jen, credit Westmore, that zone has given Clemson some issues. They just have not been able to attack it as well as they did the man.
And that's even with Clemson hitting a 3 right at their first sight of that zone, but Westmore knew what he was doing, Wiley West, over there on the bench.
You don't just win 840 games without knowing a little something.
Second winningest active head coach in the country in women's hoops. Liking what he's seeing from Zoe Brooks as NC State has now opened up their biggest lead of the game. Brooks with 16, Hayes with 16 to lead the Wolfpack. Moore has been the spark all night long for Clemson. And this will be NC State ball when we come back, but Zoe Brooks has been all over everywhere in this game tonight. Coming up big when the Wolfpack need her. All of the ranked ACC teams who are in action today have won their matchups so far. NC State trying to follow suit. Leading scorers for both teams, though, Clemson led by Moore and Cone on the outside. And for NC State, they have gotten great contributions from Brooks and Hayes. Isaiah James right behind them with 15. Brooks calling her own number off the timeout, is fouled by Cone.
Foul charge.
Great execution by NC State. Coming out of the timeout, you want to attack, you want to get a good look coming off of that. And Zoe Brooks gets to the rim. She has been able to get to the rim whenever she wants tonight.
Brooks sends the first free throw through. NC State team has also done an excellent job of taking care of the basketball. That was how Westmore led off shoot-around today. He gathered the players around. He said, gave a few points defensively. He said, what do we need to do on offense? And he waited until one of them said, take care of the basketball. Just 6 turnovers. They have done that tonight.
That's been huge. They've averaged 17 turnovers per game during their last 5 wins. They are 5-0 on that stretch, but haven't taken as good care of the basketball. And tonight, they've done a great job. They've been able to create extra opportunities for themselves. 5 more shot attempts than Clemson. Great job by their guards.
Hence why we came on the air with Westmore singing about UGLY. Nothing ugly about that take by Sanaya Rivers. This NC State team is on an 8-0 run. They are getting it done in the 4th quarter on their home floor. Clemson calls a timeout on the floor. It just feels like, and you mentioned this earlier, Kelly, you sense the experience of NC State, and Clemson right now huddling up, trying to figure out what they'll do when we come back from this quick break. NC State now with a 10-point lead. Clemson has the ball. Tigers with 2 timeouts remaining. NC State has 4. And Clemson still with a foul to give to put NC State on the line.
And Jen, you mentioned it. NC State's been here. They've been to a Final Four. They've got so many veterans. They have only lost, what, 15 games in this building in the last 8 years. They know what it takes to win. The last 5 minutes of the 4th quarter, that's winning time. Does Clemson have another punch? Can they fight to get back in this game?
See what the Tigers do off the timeout, looking for McQueen. Good ball movement, winds up in the hands of Moore. And just enough, looks like there was contact. Yep, foul was called on Brooks.
And they called this on Zoe Brooks. I don't know about that call, Jen. I did not see much contact at all on that play. She got her right hand at the very end. I see what they called, but I think you also could have gone without calling that.
Good opportunity for Clemson to pick up points with the clock stopped. Mentioned they had not been to the line very often tonight. That was just the 9th free throw attempt. They have 8 makes from the line.
And you got to make them, though, Jen. If you're going to get to the line to claw back in this game, you got to knock them down. Clemson is 78% free throw shooting team.
Hayes. Rebound, just enough. The 6'6" freshman Trigger able to rein it in.
And they're calling Zoe Brooks' number because she's been so good in this second half.
NC State taking their time, and then they said, Zoe, you better get going. She did. And it is Clemson ball.
Jen, one of the recent rule changes in women's basketball is when a shot clock resets, you only get 20 seconds. I think sometimes players still forget about that because it is so new. And Sanaya Rivers and Zoe Brooks were taking their time. Part of me thinks they thought they had 30 seconds instead of 20.
It did look that way. And it felt rushed in the end. McQueen pulls up. You cannot fault the effort from this Clemson team, but it feels a little hectic, a little rushed with everything they are doing on the offensive end. Moore called for the foul, her third. That is the 4th-team foul against the Tigers. Poppy doesn't want to give up the basketball.
He's got to be careful. I know he's not thrilled with the officials right now, but your team is still very much in the basketball game. You cannot afford to give the other team free throws by picking up some sort of technical foul.
And how much can Clemson afford to let NC State just take all the time they want on these possessions? A little more pressure being applied now. Hayes drives, had it blocked. Good defending by the Tigers, and McQueen wasting no time. Who touched it last? It stays with Clemson. No field goals in nearly 4 minutes.
They've gone cold, Jen, and they've gone cold against this zone. They just do not have an answer against this zone, because when you take the head of the snake out, when you don't allow Loyal McQueen to dribble all over the place, then Clemson has struggled.
Moore. Blocked by Rivers. Sanaya Rivers said she loves shot blocking more than just about anything else in the game. Big one there.
And that's what's special about Sanaya Rivers. She can do everything. She had a stat line against Louisville, 14, 13, 2, and a steal. I mean, she can do it all for NC State.
Rivers had back-to-back double-doubles against Louisville, and Davidson was sick during the last game against James Madison. Oh, how about the long three?
Sanaya Rivers from the logo. That could be the dagger for NC State.
Clemson needs some of these. That's her 5th triple tonight.
And that's 13 made threes, ties a season high for Clemson.
Sean Poppy hopping up and down, hands in the air, urging his team to come over. Applied some pressure defensively. And knows time is of the essence. Still a 9-point lead for NC State. Wolfpack outscoring the Tigers 19-12 in this quarter. Final minute on the clock. Rivers too close to the basket, maybe. Back to that long three.
You had to get a stop there if you're Clemson. Got to stop and score.
Swinging around to the corner, and there's back-to-back triples for the Tigers. Timeout, Clemson.
What a run, a 6-0 run. Back-to-back threes for Clemson. And of course, Loyal McQueen finding Mia Moore, a great extra pass, and now Clemson still in it. 45 seconds to go. NC State has the basketball, and Coach Poppy called that timeout. So NC State cannot advance the ball because Sean Poppy called the timeout. They're going to try to apply some pressure here, try to get a steal. And then NC State, not a great free throw shooting team, just 63%. Get one trap, go for the steal, and then foul.
Summer Evans is a 29% three-point shooter on the season. She has hit 2 triples tonight, and Clemson as a team has hit a program record 14 threes in the game. They had gone quiet. We talked about the drought of nearly 4 minutes, but what's a way to get points back in a hurry? You find your shooters.
And when you can make threes, you're never truly out of a game.
Full court pressure from the Tigers. And they nearly get the steal, do they? It's a jump ball. Possession arrow, NC State. Wolfpack wanting the foul. I don't know.
Seeing the replay, it looks more like a jump ball than it did in real time.
Agreed.
But I also would have understood a foul call there as well. And of course, a lot of contact on that play too, Jim.
And you are allowed to look back if potentially there was contact that would be deemed anything intentional. And no foul was called on the play. They could also look to see just to if there's any sort of an elbow contact to the face.
That has to be what they're looking at, because if it's called a jump ball, it doesn't matter who the ball's off on.
Right.
They could be looking at Sanaya Rivers, perhaps, but I think they're also looking at timing is what we're being told.
Keep an eye on the clock in the bottom left corner. So when the jump ball is called, might get a couple ticks back. Men's hoops coming your way on ACC Network on New Year's Day. Good way to ring in the new year. Notre Dame at Georgia Tech at 2:30 Eastern, and then number 4 Duke at Cooper Flag hosting Virginia Tech at Cameron Indoor. That is coming up on Tuesday right here on ACCN with some men's hoops. Start your year off right. Okay, we're getting lots of thumbs up.
It's a good sign.
So the shot clock is what has been adjusted there. 27 seconds, 42.8 stays on the clock. Good effort, though, defensively from Clemson, and now they will have the possession arrow in their favor for the next jump ball. That's important to remember. Next foul by the Tigers puts NC State on the line.
And to me, it's the same strategy. Go for a steal like you just did, put pressure on NC State, and then you do need a foul.
Here comes the foul. Porter, that is her 4th. But had to get it done.
That's her 4th personal, 5th team foul.
Madison Hayes. Another good night for the grad student out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Another Chattanooga connection. Both coaches obviously coaching there, and Hayes back to the free throw line. 76% free throw shooter on the season. Women's hoops on ACCN. We have them every Thursday, doubleheader this Thursday. Virginia Tech, Florida State, and Stanford SMU. Lots of great women's basketball action here on ACCN all season long.
They will advance the ball.
So at stake here, Kelly. It's not too early. Go ahead and let's talk a little Charlie Cream and what this could mean for Clemson if they can find a way to get it done.
Jen, I'm of the firm belief that it's never too early to talk March and to talk brackets. And for Clemson right now, they're squarely on the bubble. Charlie Cream has them in his first 4 out. A win like this to beat a team that's top 25 in the net and to beat them on the road, of course, would be massive. Clemson's got a long way to go when you're down 8 with 37 seconds to go, but they've got a chance, Jim. When you can make threes, as I said earlier, you're never truly out of it. Coach Poppy called the timeout. They advanced the ball. Right now, if you make a 3 here, you're trading 3 for 2 because NC State made free throws. You're going to have to get a steal and force a turnover at some point after a made 3. But first and foremost, got to get a 3 on this possession.
NC State's done well from the line tonight. 17 of 23. It's just about 74% above their season average of 63%. Clemson needs points. Cone can't deliver. Hayes, big rebound, and was pushed. She'll head back to the free throw line.
Clemson foul number 22.
Madison Hayes has long been called that glue-type player for NC State, and she seems to find her way to the ball in big moments.
She does. 8 rebounds for her. NC State's tied for leading scorer tonight with 18 points, and she has made big plays, made big shots when NC State needs her to.
Miss on the first free throw attempt, but she is 7 of 9 from the line tonight. This might be a good time to remind you that Clemson was picked 13th in the ACC in the preseason poll. Battling hard tonight. Off the glass, not done yet. McQueen adds a couple more. Boy, Zoe Brooks took a hard hit off the screen.
It looks like, if I'm reading this right, the official said that Westmore called a timeout, but okay, I guess he did. At first, the way he was yelling at the official, I'm not sure he did call a timeout.
Maybe a clock again,
I guess.
that we're looking at. Here's a screen I was talking about.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that should have been called, I think.
You think not enough time for Brooks to react to it? Either way, I don't believe that's what they're looking at. We think it's just a clock issue.
You got to give time and distance, usually 1 or 2 strides, and I'm not sure they did there.
It was a clock. It was at 22.7, now at 23.5, so a couple more tenths of a second.
And Westmore did call a timeout.
And now we're caught up, and they can advance the basketball with that timeout call. So it's important for NC State here just to make sure they have a good, strong possession, knowing Clemson's going to be coming after them.
Well, they got to take care of the basketball engine. They've done a great job. 6 turnovers tonight. That is impressive for a team that's had some struggles taking care of the basketball. I know Westmore is going to be very happy with that. And they have some great free throw shooters on the floor. If I'm Clemson, Zoe Brooks is probably the worst free throw shooter on the floor at just 63%. That's who I'd want to foul.
Well, Sanaya Rivers was not letting go of the basketball. She's a 77% free throw shooter on the season. Slow start in this game for Sanaya. Had some foul trouble, had just 2 points at the half, but now at 14, and she'll head to the line. Evans fouls out. That was her 5th personal on that play. Not an easy start to their home ACC slate for NC State tonight. Good battle from the Tigers. Here's what's coming up for the Wolfpack.
And NC State is going to take that trip out west to Cal and Stanford and play both of those teams on a Thursday, Sunday. Both teams look good. Cal has looked very good to me. They're in the top 25. They beat Stanford, and they can shoot the rock, so that'll be a challenge.
The door left open with those 2 missed free throws, but McQueen couldn't hit on the other end for Clemson. NC State ball. As for the Tigers and what's coming up for them, really impressive effort for Sean Poppy's squad tonight. They too will have the California teams, but big difference. They
At
can
home.
play them at home.
They don't have to travel all the way to the West Coast. But like I said, Cal is a sharp shooting team. If you love threes, you're going to want to watch Cal Clemson just like this game. And then look at the rest of that stretch. Virginia in there. Then how about Notre Dame and Florida State? A pretty tough stretch for Clemson to start ACC play, Jen. But depending on how this game finishes, I know there's only 11 seconds left, Clemson can take a lot from this showing. They've hit a program record 14 threes. When they make threes, they can play with anybody. They have shooters all over the roster. They've taken good care of the basketball. They've held their own on the glass. That's huge. They should take a lot of confidence. I know there's no moral victories, but they should take a lot of confidence from this game.
In your eyes, what changed as this fourth quarter went on in favor of NC State?
Well, I know that Coach Poppy's going to watch this film and say, we've got to be better when teams zone us. And it is a bit counterintuitive to, you don't want to zone a shooting team, but because Loyal McQueen is the head of the snake and does so much for them, the way she attacks and then dishes the ball, she has 9 assists tonight, Clemson might see some more zone. How effective NC State was zoning them in the second half. So I know Coach Poppy will go back to the drawing board, maybe put in a few more zone sets and just make sure Clemson is ready when they see zone again.
Looks like we are once again in an official review situation, perhaps looking at the clock. Got North Carolina men's hoops coming up, hosting Campbell after this one, talking about three-pointers tonight. Clemson with a program record, 14 made three-pointers as a team. How about RJ Davis needs a couple of three-pointers for North Carolina men's individual all-time three-point record. We'll have that for you just as soon as we wrap up here.
One thing about the triangle, Jen, that I love is there's always a good college basketball game to either watch or attend. And I know fans in this part of the state love their college basketball.
Everybody ready to go. Wanting to get this one wrapped up here at Reynolds.
Clock has been adjusted to 11.8. Out of bounds call has been overturned. It is Clemson ball on the end line.
So they were also reviewing the possession there as well, and the ball is now Clemson's.
11.8 seconds is all the Tigers have to work with. Cone has hit some big threes tonight. Couldn't get that one to go. She'll try again. Up over James. But in the end, it's too little, too late as time runs out on the Tigers, and NC State gets the win, 83-79 in their home ACC opener tonight. Well, that'll do it from Reynolds Coliseum. We've got North Carolina hosting Campbell next from Chapel Hill. Let's send you there with Kevin Brown and Dan Bonner.